2, 1. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Jewish Boy Calls His Mother. I'm your host, Sadia, and this is my mother, Ema. Hey, Ema.
Hello.
Now, you wanted to choose a topic to talk about. We mentioned it earlier this week to each other, not really on the podcast. What was it exactly?
We were talking about funny things that kids do, but I just think that the conversation we had before the recording was pretty funny. Like I said, I gave it was it, it took us a while to finally set up the technology here and to finally get into the right thing. And I was laughing about me being among the technologically challenged, and since I'm from my generation, so I want to say a special blessing to Hashem, blessed be He who imparts technological wisdom to the technologically challenged like myself.
I amen to that, I would say. Yeah. But adding on to what you were saying about kids getting into little antics, I know that when I was a kid, I got into my own antics. I think I was 3 years old when I decided to go to my friend Seffi's house in Columbia when I'm all the way from Baltimore, and I tried walking in the middle of a hurricane or
a hurricane with a tornado warning, and somebody called me on the phone. One of the neighbors said they thought they saw a man walking a little boy across the street who looked like you, and she described what you were wearing. And I said, wait a minute, he's outside playing with his brothers and sisters. They're supposed to be watching him. I was taking care of the then baby at that time. So I went out and I said to the kids, where's Saadi? And they looked around, we don't know. And I realized the way she described what the little boy was wearing was you. So we called the police right away. And your father came home. It was when the hurricane hit, was when the police pulled up, and your father ran out in the middle of the hurricane with the tornado warning. And when the police called, they went to where my husband was, and I said, he ran out for you. And they ran out, got in their cars and went out looking for your father. So what happened was, we were, oh my God, it was an hour and a half of sheer hell. I wouldn't wish it on any family. The only thing that kept me calm was me and your sister sat down and we all said to him, and I was crying and crying. It was very scary. Anyway, what happened was I get a call an hour and a half later from one of the neighbors that lives on Western Run. And they said, we have your son here. What happened was a Black non-Jewish family was driving in a car and they saw you running around. And of course you had sits and you had payas. And they said, look at that little Jewish boy just running around in this hurricane. So thank God they were very honest, wonderful people. They grabbed you off the street and they said that they decided to drive around till they found a from person or from family somewhere. So they were driving around and this woman happened to be coming home from the store, and they pulled up in the car and they told her that they have a little Jewish boy in their car. Is there a family in the area that is looking for their little boy? So she said she didn't know, but she would take him in her house and call around and see what's going on. She took you into the house and you could barely talk at the time. So she kept asking you your name, and they were listening. She and her husband were listening and listening. And she said to me that she thought it sounded like you were saying something angster. They could understand the name angster. So they realized that the Rothsteins were friends of ours that lived right down the street from them on Western Run. They called the Rothsteins, and the Rothsteins said, yeah, that the angsters are looking for their little boy Saadia. So then the woman called me and told me, they thought they had you. So I got in the car and I drove down. Yeah, and I thank God, I picked you up. And when I brought you home, you saw the police was there, and you started crying when you realized how serious it was that the police were actually there. And I think the policeman couldn't stop saying, "Thank God, thank God, thank God," enough times.
Wow.
Because they have dealt with all sorts of horrible situations, and so they were very happy you were found safe.
I remember parts of that, actually. I remember going down Park Heights towards the Aguda near the near this apartment complex with that like stained glass wooden like statue kind of thing. And I remember walking down Western Run, and I remember the black family stopping me by and asking me like what's going on, and me like not understanding why they were talking to me and tried to run away. I remember that. But my question would be like, did you ever have anything when you were a kid? Did you ever run away from home, or did you try to like, you know, I don't know, find a new pet in the forest and bring it home or something like that?
Well, before we go into me, there's a couple other things which were hysterical that I want to mention. Like the time you disappeared in 7 Mile Market and we found you in the freezer jumping on the bags of ice.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That was pretty funny. And the time you disappeared in Montgomery Wards, and I went to the security person, they locked the doors, and the security person, the manager were running all over the store looking for you. And we found you in the furniture section, asleep in one of the beds.
Well, it was a comfy bed, most likely.
What?
It was a comfy bed, most likely.
Good advertisement for their sleep mattress.
Yeah.
But anyway, as far as me, I was one of these kids where my mom, I would find any way I could to just walk out of the house, escape out of the house rather, you know, with my parents not knowing. And I was little. I was like maybe 5, 6, 7 years old, and I used to like to walk to. We lived behind the golf course that's in Forest Park, and I used to like to walk to the golf course and just walking. There was one dog I remember was walking like a collie and with no owner. People, by the way, in those days were not careful about keeping their dogs on leashes or it. I don't know what it was with them. Dogs in those days ran very loose. And this collie was very nice. And I was just like petting this collie and walking next to it was okay. But you know the story that I told you about the me with the movie theater when I was only 7 years old?
Oh, the Ting?
No, the Brain Eaters.
The Brain Eaters, okay.
The Ting is another story. Should I tell the Ting story? Okay.
We'll start with the Brain Eaters, and then we'll move around.
Okay. So anyway, I was very much into horror movies at the time. And at the Forest Theater, for those of you who grew up in Baltimore, you probably remember the Forest Theater. So I was only 7 years old. I walked by myself to the Forest Theater. I wanted to see the Brain Eaters very, very badly. My parents wouldn't give me the money to see it. So I'm standing in front of the theater, and I'm hearing from inside the theater, you can hear everybody screaming and screaming, and I just wanted to go in there so badly. So I had an idea. This is horrible. There were these teenage boys that were coming in. Two of them, there were about 3 of them. 2 of them came in, and the other one was like behind the others and talking to some girl. I come in, and the ticket person, of course, is waiting for me to give me their ticket. And I go, "Oh, my brother has it," and I run in.
Oh, wow.
As soon as I run in, I hear somebody yell, "Sister! I don't even have a sister!" And I started running into the theater, and I found a place to sit, and I see the usher coming in with a flashlight.
Oh, shit.
And going up and down the aisles with the flashlight with the guy.
Oh, God.
So at that point, I thought, it's not worth it. I just ran out the exit.
Oh, wow. You know, it's funny you say that, because I remember watching movies and TV shows that like the timeline in the movie or TV show is based in like the 1950s, 1960s. And it seemed like a lot looser of a time. I mean, sure, there was real fucked up shit. You know, I think civil rights was still a problem then, and all that other stuff. But there was this feeling of, I guess, average white American, that there was a lot looser laws. Like, you couldn't get away with a lot more stuff, or you can really bend a lot more stuff. I guess would you say people are more restrained nowadays, or people's rights are kind of removed, or it's different time, different people?
It's a very good question. I think in certain respects, well, first of all, parents watch their kids a lot more carefully, and there's much more education for children about, you know, stranger danger and not taking chances like that. The 1950s, you had isolated incidences of, you know, kidnappings and murders, but they were There were there was less of them. The
Less
real
documented, you mean? Do you think?
um no, there was actually no, it was actually how do I say it was starting the crime, the increase in crime really started more like circa 1960-ish. That's when you really saw a big takeoff in the crime wave and people being a lot more guarded and careful.
But so,
1960s. I'd like to say 1960s.
because I
Because
know because everyone thinks the 1950s was this like La La Land notion of like it was just this 10 years of pure bubble bliss. And it's maybe the cynical in me is like maybe it's just less documented information. Maybe people were so banged up from the past that they wanted to believe in some kind of La La Land because they didn't want to face other parts of society that they had to confront. I don't know. It's just an idea I'm having when it comes to like people talk about the 1950s always, and they always put it in like silver with rose tinted glasses.
no, I don't think so. I think there were like a lot of people like in my age bracket now are coming forward and saying, yeah, that bad stuff happened to them also when they were younger, but it was one of the things that just it wasn't reported, it wasn't paid attention to or something, or it was kind of ignored in certain respects. Yeah, but at least in the 1950s, the majority of kids were able to walk to school back and forth by themselves in safety. Um, I would never ever let any of my kids walk to school, even if we went to the local school, even if your kids did not go to
We walked to
to a
school
school.
though sometimes. I mean, the schools are 3 miles away, but we like walked or rode our bikes to school, and the girls rode their bikes to school sometimes too. And
Well, that was you're talking about the high school. These were I know there was like at Beis Yaakov, there was a whole group of high school girls that when the weather got nice used to ride their bikes
yeah,
together
like that was the thing they
down
did.
Park Night. Yeah. And some and I've seen I think I've seen boys from TA, but you're not talking about little. You're talking about like kids in high school. But in my day, I walked to school with my sisters when we were in elementary. I mean, I was in first grade walking with my sister who was in fourth grade.
I think people still
And
do that today. I think it's just it's different neighborhoods maybe. I think like because Baltimore City itself has such a bad rap and is such high crime, but the crime is isolated. It's not all over Baltimore. It's in certain pockets, but it's so densely focused on that's what kind of throws everyone off, and then fear comes into people. Then people don't go ahead and walk to school because they're scared of one thing or another. When chances of actually happening to them is pretty low.
And you might have a point. Well, anyway, so you wanted me to tell the Ting story to go back to the original
Ooh.
topic?
Well, we're actually
The Ting
we're
story.
close to 15 minutes in, so
But I just want to tell the Ting story because that's a funny
all right,
story.
sure.
Okay. Okay. I spent the day at my Zadie's house. I was about, I think, 4 years old. I couldn't read yet. And so Zadie and I watched a movie on television and I couldn't read. And I said to my Zadie, what's the name of the movie? He says, The Ting. He was from, oh, by the way, Zadie was from Poland. I got to put that
Well,
in
I
also.
think also I'm
So,
not sure, but like I know most of our listeners are Jewish, but we have to try to like translate to the best of our ability some key words. So Zadie means grandfather, in case anyone's
okay.
wondering. Sorry, continue.
Okay. So anyway, so afterwards, I went home afterwards, and so my mother said to me, "What did you and Zadie do?" And I said, "Oh, Zadie and I watched a movie." And then I said to her, "Mom, what's a ting?" And my mother says to me, "A ting?" I said, "Yeah, Zadie and I watched a movie called The Ting." So my mother's and all of a sudden, she cracks up laughing and says, "The
Yeah,
thing."
it's very interesting listening to like Eastern European Jews talk, and it was funny because this Shabbos, this Sabbath, I was saying Kaddish, and somebody in the shul thought I mispronounced something. I'm like, I didn't mispronounce it. I say it with an Ashkenazi dialect, and it's not Hasidish. And there's Hasidish dialect where the O, when you say something O, they pronounce it as I. And all this other stuff. So it's I think dialect is very interesting. The accents and everything like that. You know.
Well, when I got my first teaching job in New York, I said the word Torah, and the kids looking at me, the what? I go, Torah, Torah. From kids. And these are from New York kids, and all of a sudden they go, Tyra.
Tyra, Tiva, Lada, Maisha. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's what's the funniest thing. And then as kids, I guess as adults you get older and you realize it doesn't matter. But as kids, you hold on to it. Like you're that's not true. You're saying it wrong. Everything is wrong. Like, oh geez. Oh my God. These children.
We were all children at one time, though. We were all there
that's
one
the
time.
Funny thing, and sometimes we haven't grown out of it. Yeah. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and thank you for our listeners. I really appreciate you guys subscribing, and just stay tuned. We're going to try to do once a week publishing, and have a wonderful day.
Okay. God bless. Have a nice day, honey. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.